Hello, my name is John Bergen, and I'm an agricultural educator from Mission Valley High School in Eskridge, Kansas. In my sports turf management class, we use a resource that several farmers use called Mesonet. Mesonet is a resource here locally by Kansas State University, but several other universities have outstanding Mesonets set up for their local production operations. Farmers can use this. Other individuals who use this can be homeowners and a lot of people in the sports turf industry. I'm going to demonstrate how this is used as a tool for other agricultural educators to use in their classroom. Kansas State University's Mesonet is mesonet.k-state.edu. Has several resources on it. A lot of this just looks like a weather database, but if you think about weather, it's a biological factor that makes a huge impact in how we practice things on a horticultural and agricultural level, and according our and of course our state's industry. So this website at the very beginning shows temperature data points and where we can get information from. So for instance here in Mitchell County, we are able to get today's weather, their high and their lows, the participation chances. We also get a calculator for 24-hour precipitation, which we can see is pretty low with the exception of a few areas, and then of wind, and we can see wind patterns. Right now this just looks like a lot of information for weather, but we can also get some agricultural applications such as growing degree days. GDUs or growing degree units is not currently available during the time period that this is in. However, with inputs, you can, within April and October, you can measure corn levels, and using the differences of the temperature from nightfall to from the low temperature to the high temperature, those units is what makes corn or other commodities grow. And so using your local weather patterns, the Mesonet is able to go back and figure out, okay, if you live in Rossville, Kansas, and this is your high and this is your low, you can see that there is a difference of 31 degrees. So the system uses that data to figure out what would the GDUs or growing degree units be, because corn has to have so many growing degree units to hit maturity. So it helps farmers predict when their corn is going to hit the maturity stage or defoliation stage. Other applications of this are soil temperature, a freeze monitor for several weather stations across the state of Kansas. This map right here is an example that shows hours in below freezing point within the last 24 hours in Kansas. So you can see where I live in Wabaunsee County, we had just on some very low areas, but in some areas of Kansas we had up to 5 hours below the freezing point. This data is very important because it helps us predict freeze damage to crops, and this is exactly what crop insurance programs are going to be using. They're going to be using Mesonet data to figure out potential insurance problems. The two closest weather stations to my students' location in Mission Valley is Rossville and Silver Lake. Now, these two weather stations are right down the road from each other, but being rival communities and schools, I guess they both need one. It measures anything from air temperature to relative humidity, precipitation in forms of inches, wind speed, soil temperature at the 2-inch level, and solar radiation. My students can use this information to then calculate evapotranspiration. Evapotranspiration is going to give them the information for how much water was depleted from the soil. We use this in my sports turf management class to give our custodians an accurate measurement for how much water they need to put on the football field. So we're not adding too much, and we're hitting a perfect amount. I hope you can see with this presentation that Mesonet is not a resource in which students are going to extrapolate data with the website, but it gives them the metrics and live data each day, so that way they can use that within those applications. I think this is a great tool because it continually updates itself, and it gives kids the data metrics that they're not going to be able to find otherwise, and they're not going to be able to find through Google. Kansas State University has its own Mesonet, does have every research and extension resource that is well funded through federal dollars. Standards covered in this was ITSC Teacher Standard 1B and TPAC Standard TK